think it's a very interesting story, and I think it keeps you wondering, like, what's going to happen? Like, how are they going to get out of this?
Mm-hmm. What's up, everybody? I'm Rick.
And I'm Anna.
And welcome to our review of Shanghai Express. So today what we're going to do is we're going to review the 1932 movie Shanghai Express as part of our goal to watch every movie that was nominated at the Academy Award from 1927 to 2028. That's 101 years of movies. This is one of our bucket list goals. Just to remind everyone, this is the 33rd movie we've watched, and this is the 6th year that we're doing. We did from 1927 up until now, which is 4 years completed, and this is the 5th Academy Award, but we've also done 2019. The way we're going to do this review is the same way we do all of these reviews. So first part is going to be spoiler free for those of you who want to hear our thoughts but don't want to necessarily get spoiled, in case you want to watch the movie yourself. Second part is spoiler filled, meaning we're not just going to tell you everything that happens in the movie, but we're going to zero in on some key scenes, key elements that we want to talk about in more details with spoilers. If you don't want to get spoiled, don't worry, we will warn you before we get to the spoilers section. Before any of this though, let's get to our trivia section.
Oh yes!
General information
Tell me about this
section.
movie.
So like I said a couple of times, this movie came out in 1932. To be more precise, in February 12, 1932. This is a Paramount Picture film. It is based on The Sky Over China, or China Pass, which is an unpublished novel by Harry Harvey. Interesting, unpublished. Which this novel was in turn based on the May 6, 1923 incident in which a Shandong warlord captured the Shanghai to Beijing express train, where 25 Westerners and 300 Chinese were taken hostage. Which kind of tells you a bit about the plot of the movie. This movie was directed by Joseph von Sternberg. But before we get into the cast, did you think that it was based on any type of real event?
I didn't ask myself that question, to be honest, but I don't find it impossible.
I mean, it's obviously rooted in historical event. But here they took historical, meaning the war, like that they're talking about a lot in the movie. But there's a specific train hijack or train hostage situation that they based this.
Which is something that has happened in the past. Like, it's not out of no idea. So yeah, I didn't think that they took a specific incident as the inspiration for the story.
But like you said, the word here is inspiration. This is not a retelling of that story in any way. The years are not even the same. So let's get to the cast. Eclectic cast, a lot of characters in this movie. So Clive Brook as Captain Donald Duck Harvey, Marlene Dietrich as Shanghai Lily or Madeline, Anna May Wong as Yui Fei. Interesting note, Wong was an American actress considered to be the first Chinese-American Hollywood star. Warner Oland as Henry Chang, and Lawrence Grant as Reverend Carmichael. I could have named everyone else up to the dog, but you know, not necessary. So the movie was nominated for 3 Academy Awards. Best Picture, of course, that's the reason we're watching it. Best Director for Joseph von Sternberg, and Best Cinematography for Lee Carmer. You know, the year that we've been doing the 5th Academy Award year is 1931-1932, and spoiler alert, the movie Grand Hotel wins that year.
Okay.
Shanghai Express was dubbed Grand Hotel on Wheels.
Oh, okay.
That gives us maybe an idea of what Grand Hotel is going to be. We haven't watched Grand Hotel yet.
I wonder. Yeah. But it could be named like that for
a number of reasons.
Yeah, different reasons.
The film was a huge hit with the public, grossing $3.7 million in its initial screening in the US alone, becoming the biggest financial success for von Sternberg, and was the highest grossing movie in 1932, surpassing Grand Hotel.
Oh, okay.
Shanghai Express was remade as Night Plane from Chongqing in 1943, and which, judging from the title, I'm guessing it's a plane instead of
a train.
Yeah, and Peking Express in 1951. So let's start our spoiler-free conversation. And I will start like we always do, without spoiling the movie. Can you tell us, did you like it?
I did like it. I thought it was very interesting. The story was captivating and full of mystery. There were different points in the story where the characters were talking about things they knew, but we weren't introduced to them. We found out about them later. And I think that was very well done. I particularly like the fact that different characters speak different languages in the movie. And I don't know if maybe it was subtitled when they showed it in theaters or not, but we didn't have subtitles, so we couldn't understand everything that the other characters were saying. But you still get the story, and I think that that's very interesting and not easy to do. You know?
Yeah, but it's especially, I feel like it works because other characters in the context of the movie also don't understand.
Right.
As for me, this movie, I don't know, like, I was intrigued. I wanted to know where it was going. So definitely, in that sense, I was entertained because I wanted to get to the end. Like, how is this situation going to resolve itself? But I feel like that's all I cared about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I find myself having a hard time caring for any number of characters that they had in there. They had a lot of characters. And maybe that's why. Maybe it's because I didn't feel like most of them were very fleshed out. Especially the main ones. We'll talk about performances in a bit. But like Marlene Dietrich as Madeleine and Doc. I don't know. I didn't care.
Okay.
I didn't care what was happening to her. And by the end, when the whole thing is resolved and then they resolve their own part of the story, I didn't care anymore. You know, the only character where I was like rooting for was Wong's character, and maybe it's because it was different from anything we've seen before. You know, she was a Chinese character. She was not portrayed in any kind of like demeaning way. You know, she's a strong character in the movie and an essential character in the movie. But yeah, everyone else, like the old lady.
Yeah, I suppose you are right on this side that I feel like the main focus of this movie was the story rather than the characters individually.
Yeah, but let's get to those characters and more specifically their performances or the performances of the people playing them. What do you think of that?
I feel like while some of the actors had like a really good performance, not all of them did, in my opinion. If we talk, for example, about the main character, Doctor and
Shanghai Lily.
Shanghai Lily. Her performance I felt was better than his. And I always find in movies when you have, you know, pairs of characters that are unbalanced, it doesn't work well.
Yeah, but also like I feel like a lot of because they spend a lot of time on the background characters, not only on these two, like the French guy and Carmichael and the old lady. Some of them I have a hard time remembering their name. You know, there was this one fat guy who's there like making mean comments most of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, who is even this guy, you know? And so it's not so much about their performances. It's like what they had to work with.
So would you say that maybe the movie was a little bit too crowded?
But there are movies that have been crowded and they made it work, you know?
Yes, but if you spend an equal amount of time on each one of these characters, then it feels like, what am I
But they don't though.
here?
They don't. They spend most of the time with Shanghai Lily.
Yeah, that's true.
And still I find myself like hardly caring what was happening to her, you know?
Really? I thought that her character was very interesting, very intriguing.
Yeah, they gave her this whole backstory, and so I guess we're transitioning to the story right now. They gave her this whole backstory. She's the central element of can we call it the B plot? Well, she's the central element of the story that she has with the doc. That whole part of it, I was like, no, you know, I want to see what's happening with this train.
Okay.
Like, I don't really care about your life, Shanghai Lily, or the doc's life, or whatever happens to any of you guys. You know, I don't know. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I wasn't...
That's interesting. Yeah, no, I thought her side of the story was interesting. The rest, not so much.
Yeah. And even her performance, like, a lot of them I feel have layers. Carmichael, I felt like had layers surprisingly. Like, by the end, I was kind of rooting for him, while at the beginning I said I wasn't rooting for anyone. But by the end, he was a more sympathetic character than he was at the beginning, which is always nice to see that kind of evolution either way, you know. But for her, Shanghai Lily, she evolves, and yet I still feel like she didn't... Like, I feel like this whole thing happens, and she's still the character that she was at the beginning, and that character that she was at the beginning I didn't care about. I didn't care about Carmichael at the beginning, but by the end I did.
Right.
But Shanghai Lily the whole time I was like, yeah. But let's stop harping on her specifically. I didn't care about any of them except Wong and Carmichael at the end, so it's not really her fault or the actress's fault. More a problem in writing, probably. What about the look of the movie? I thought that was where the movie shined,
I agree. I thought it looked great. I'm always very interested watching these old movies to see when do they start filming like this kind of new style of shots. And I feel like in this movie we do see a little bit of that, like different angles, because I think also because they're supposed to film like on a train. Oh, it's probably a set. It's probably not.
The whole thing was a set, which is really surprising. That's why I find it like so well made. The whole thing is a set. They're not in China.
But are they on a train? They're not.
That I don't know, but I doubt it.
But I mean, they still film in very narrow spaces.
Yeah.
Because some of the scenes they're supposed to be on a train. And I find it very interesting how they do that. Like, how do they angle the cameras?
Yeah, but back to, like, the rest of the set, too. All the details, whenever they're outside, to make you feel like, oh, this is in Shanghai, or this is in whatever region of China they're in right now. And they have, like, all these people walking around, the stands. I remember that one scene where the train is riding through a town.
Oh, yes, that scene. That was great.
You have to think, like, everything is put meticulously to make you feel like...
Like this is filmed in China.
Exactly. And so, in that part, in that regard, I thought the movie was very well made.
I agree. I think that you can see the attention to details.
Yeah. Before we get into the spoiler section, would you say you recommend this movie?
Yeah, I would recommend it. I think it's good. I think it's a good movie. I think it's a very interesting story, and I think it keeps you wondering, like, what's going to happen? Like, how are they going to get out of this? So I think that's a good thing.
So I was dancing around a lot of things here because I don't want to spoil the movie. If you get into the spoiler section, I will explain more details what exactly I mean by I like the story. I was intrigued by the story. I was not intrigued by any of the characters. So we'll get into that. But considering these two elements, would I recommend this movie? I'd say probably not.
No?
Probably not.
Okay.
The way I often approach that question is knowing what I know now. If you ask me to watch this movie, would I watch it? I probably wouldn't. I'd go watch something else.
I would watch it. Yeah. That's a good way to ask yourself the question, would I recommend this movie? I would. Yeah, I think it's interesting enough.
But yeah, let's get into our spoiler section. For those of you who don't want to be spoiled, I invite you to leave the video now. But don't forget that we do the ranking. We rank all the movies from the 5th Academy Award at the end of this video. So if you don't want to miss that, the timestamp for this will be in the description below. So Anna, before we get into our spoilers, I have the synopsis here of the movie itself.
Okay.
A woman rediscovers a former lover during a dangerous train ride in Shanghai. So here it is. The best way to explain my thoughts is to pick apart this synopsis line here. A dangerous train ride to Shanghai. That's the part of the movie that interested me.
Right.
A woman rediscovers a former lover. I couldn't care less. The whole time, this whole storyline.
But I find it interesting that when you put the synopsis like that, it's like the main focus is supposed to be... the love story.
Yeah.
While even me, I feel like, even though I did find it interesting, like the woman's story, I still felt like the story of the train, of like what happens with all the passengers, was the main focus.
Yeah, and so I feel like this might be contradicting myself, but the movie both doesn't pick a lane in terms of like all these characters. They have all these characters, huh? They're there just enough to feel like they should be there more, or they should be developed more.
Right.
But they're not. So I don't care about the old lady. She's always there, but I don't care about her. Who is she? I don't care about this fat guy who's always mean. Who is he even, But they're also, if they were there less, I would be like, oh no, these are just,
side characters.
Background characters.
Exactly.
But they're there enough time that I feel like I should know more about them. I should care more about them. I don't. But if they develop them more, then that might also be a problem in terms of trying to tell the main storyline or that B storyline that love, or maybe it's the A storyline. We don't know, considering what this synopsis says. So it's kind of a dilemma here, which is why if it was me, I would have focused just on the dangerous train ride aspect and how it impacts everyone individually, you know?
Right.
But they only have like maybe a throwaway line here and there, like the old lady, like, I'm very mad that this train is getting hijacked, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe explore more. What are you really feeling right now, you know, in this dangerous situation? Show a bit more emotion. I would have cared maybe a bit. That's why I cared about Wong, you know. Wong's character is the only one that has an emotional journey, and Carmichael also has a journey because of the event that happens on the train. Everyone else is just there. For the people who are not just there, people who are center stage, so the Doc and Shanghai Lily, I don't know what it is about them. Maybe I feel like it's something about Shanghai's Lily, her whole storyline I just didn't care for, and maybe that's on me. But you said you liked it. What
I
I
liked it. Her story is not necessarily that unusual, but I feel like the actress did a very good job portraying her character.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that because we see a female character who's not necessarily, well, she's strong, but not necessarily in a like strong independent kind of way, but more so in the sense that she knows who she is and what she wants in her life, and she's very sure of herself, and I feel like you can see that, like, she doesn't waver at all. So I liked to see this character maintaining this attitude throughout the whole movie, like through everything that happens, meaning the hijack
and she's layered. She's a layered character. She has different dimension, which is a good thing for a character to have. Let's move on to like something that I did appreciate a lot, which is this whole thing about the Communist Army who's in war with the Chinese government taking over this train because they want to do a hostage exchange for one of their own who's been taken prisoner. And there's the reveal that their leader is one of the guy who was on the train before with them, and they didn't even know. Warner Holland's character, who is the quote-unquote traitor.
Right.
Were you surprised by that reveal?
No, not really.
No.
It was just part of the story. Like,
yeah.
Actually, that's pretty much how it starts.
It becomes clear very quickly. As soon as they arrest the other guy, it becomes clear that, oh, this guy is shady. Something is happening there.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is revealed that he's part of the communists. And what I found interesting is he has this conversation during the train ride about how, he's half Chinese, half white, but really he doesn't like the white half.
Yeah.
He'd rather be full-on Chinese. And so that's where they start like putting the seeds of maybe what's going to happen. And so his involvement in the whole thing, plus the hijacking of the train, like I was really intrigued by that. I wanted to know, where is the story going to end? Are they gonna kill the dog? Are they gonna release him?
So if you like that part of the story, did you like the character Henry Chang?
I liked him, but then I feel like he quickly turned into like a villain, like a one-note villain. Like when he had that conversation in the train, I felt like, oh, this guy, he's layered, he has a certain conviction, certain things that he believes in. And you still felt like that when they take over the train and they interrogate everybody, and he seems very polite with everyone. And it's like, he doesn't necessarily want to just kill for the sake of killing, or
right. He's just like a man with political conviction.
Exactly.
He's fighting for what he thinks is right.
Exactly. But then in the second half of the movie, it quickly turns into just a mean villain, trying to rape the ladies, trying to make the dog blind. And so by that point, I was like, okay, yeah.
I didn't like that part of the story either, because I felt, it's like you said, I felt like there was a shift, and making this shift in his character, it felt like there's a shift in the story. Like if he kept being the kind of character he was in the beginning, where he was just
political opponent.
Exactly. Keeping things in control as much as possible, but just keeping his eyes on the the final goal, which was to get his partner back.
Yeah.
Right? To do a hostage exchange. I feel like that would have given the movie a very different ending.
But it would have been interesting, though, to make him a sympathetic character, and then Wong still kills him.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of, ambivalent as to, like, what was the right thing to do here?
Yeah.
But because he becomes such a, like, one-note villain, I said I would free the hostage. I didn't say in what condition. Like, the most cliche sentence. You're like, okay, whatever. Someone killed this guy,
Yeah, exactly. You don't care about him anymore. And so you don't care so much about the ending.
Yeah.
Which is not a good thing, like when the movie makes the ending uninteresting.
But that's not even the ending, you know, because the ending is, which gives credence to the fact that the love story is probably the main thing. The ending is the love story.
Yeah, but I feel
Getting
like
close.
that works to me. Because I feel like I've seen this in other movies too, where like the main action ends and then you get a little bit of, you know, life turning, going back to normal.
The epilogue.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that worked. It didn't bother me at all that they told that love story until the end. I still didn't feel like the love story was the main
The main part of the movie.
yeah, exactly.
Carmichael, I mentioned that I liked his switch throughout the movie because he has very strong conviction, religious conviction, and prejudice also against both girls, Wong and Shanghai Lily. But throughout the movie, learns that, you know, what he thought at first maybe not the entire truth, and maybe there are more nuances than he initially thought. And so in that sense, I like the evolution of his character. So him, Wong, really the highlight for me. The story, big highlight for me. Everything else. Oh, and the cinematography, of course. We mentioned that. Big highlight. Which won them an award. Anything else you'd like to focus on?
Yeah, actually, we didn't really talk much about the part that was the highlight for me, which was the fact that the characters were speaking different languages.
Oh, yes, right.
I really liked that, and I liked how they did it. Well, English is the main language of the movie, right? But the characters also speak Chinese, they speak French, they speak German, and you don't always get everything. Like, between the two of us, we got the French and the German parts, but we didn't get the Chinese part of the movie. And I feel like there's a lot of people who wouldn't even get like the French and the German, right? But it doesn't matter. Like, it still works. The movie still works, and you still get the story. And even the parts that you don't get, you still get what's happening, and you understand that you're not supposed to understand what he's saying. You're supposed to understand the situation.
Like I said, it works much more because other characters in the movie also don't understand.
Yeah.
You don't feel lost because there's someone else also in the scene who's like, hey, what did he just say? What's happening?
Yeah.
You know, and so it kind of feel like, oh, this is part of the thing. I'm not supposed to get it.
But I really liked it. I feel like it gave it, you know, a feeling of authenticity. And at the same time, it made the story as a whole feel more complex.
Yeah, I'm expecting, so they said this was Grand Hotel on wheels. I'm expecting Grand Hotel to have a big cast of different characters.
Oh yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah. So you recommend this movie?
Yes, I keep my opinion. I recommend this movie. Here's the thing, it's not a must see, right? But I still think it's a good movie. And it would be interesting to watch.
I'm not sure I would recommend this movie, so yeah. Let's get to our ranking, which, considering what I just said,
it might be very different.
People have probably an idea of where I want to put this movie. So, to remind everyone what the actual ranking is right now, number 1 is 5-star Final. Number 2, The Champ. Number 3, Aerosmith. Number 4, Bad Girl. Number 5, 1 Hour with You. I would put this movie at number 5.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm hesitating, like 4 or 5 to me, it will make no difference, but I'm gonna say 5 because I need to say something.
I was actually gonna put it at number 4.
4? Oh.
I was actually initially thinking number 3. And so I took a moment to think back on Aerosmith. I feel like Aerosmith is still more interesting as a story altogether, but I would definitely put it at number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was better than Bad Girl.
I feel like I was more interested in Bad Girl because I was more interested. I was more interested in the characters, and to me, a lot of time it'll come down to this. You know, think about it. This movie I should love. You know, this is a period of time.
I was thinking about that
this
too.
This is a part of the world, a period of time that I'm really interested in my personal life and my interest in.
I was thinking that because I feel like this movie had a great idea, but was not that well executed, and it took it down a lot. But I'm still seeing the great idea, you know, and it's mostly because of how unbalanced the characters were. Like, whether it's their screen time, their personalities, the dialogue, it's just the characters don't come well together, you know. But the story is great. I loved it.
When it started, I was super excited. I was like, oh wow, this is in Shanghai, they're in a train. Like, I kind of see where this is going, kind of like Murder in the Orient Express feel.
Exactly.
But quickly, not quickly, but like halfway through the movie, I was like, 3/4 of this character, I couldn't care less, you know, if they were there or not.
Yeah, exactly.
And Bad Girl, I cared about there were only 3 characters, so it's not as hard to balance, but I care about every one of them.
Yeah, but at the same time, I felt like Bad Girl didn't have interesting of a story. And also, Shanghai Express follows like different storylines. And granted, it doesn't do it that well, but it's still, trying to put together different stories as if like there are all these different people who come together.
Yeah, for this one event.
Exactly.
And we mentioned it a lot, and I'm gonna say it again. The set design, the cinematography, everything was very well done in that sense. Even there were a few like war or fighting scenes. It was well done in that sense. Yeah, the movie looked great, better than Bad Girl did. But again, apples and oranges, because Bad Girl is a movie like that happens like mainly in a few sets.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, we could put it number 4. I wouldn't mind. I said number 5 to choose, but yeah, we can go ahead with 4 if we agree on that. Yeah?
Yes.
So the new ranking is going to be number 1, 5-star final. Number 2, The Champ. Number 3, Aerosmith. Number 4, Shanghai Express. Number 5, Bad Girl. Number 6, 1 Hour with You. So yeah, there's only 2 movies left to rank.
We're nearing the end of this year.
Yes, we are. You guys want to see these 2 movies and all the other movies that we're going to watch, please subscribe to this channel, like this video if you did, comment in the comment section below. What did you think of Shanghai Express? I feel like my thoughts were all over the place, but that's how the movie made me feel.
Yeah, the movie too was a bit all over the place.
Yeah, tell us what you thought and subscribe to the channel. This channel is not only about movies, it's a bucket list channel in which we do a lot of things.
A lot of things.
Yeah, 101 dreams and goals that are on our bucket list, whether it's travel halfway across the world or learning to cook or watching these movies with you guys. Subscribe to join us on those journey and have a nice day.
I haven't seen you in a long time. Have you thought of me much, Doc?
Let's see, exactly how long has it been?
5 years and 4 weeks.
Well, for 5 years and 4 weeks, I've thought of nothing else.